And now for something completely different.
I appreciate it.
But I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit and talk a little bit more about you've been given a lot of credit over the years as not only the SOD and the MOD guy, but you are someone who helped discover Testament and put them on the map even. Not only was it your suggestion that they should be a part of the Big Four, but you also helped kind of bring them into the limelight. Are you still close with Chuck, Billy, and the guys?
I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I had kind of had a falling out with Chuck, even though there's not really a falling out. I mean, we don't talk to each other and talk badly about each other. But I had a problem with Chuck when he started to do work with Johnny Z as a manager. I mean, Johnny Z notorious for stealing from everybody and bragging about all the cocaine he did with it. Now, a lot of people are like, Johnny Z's a legend. Yeah, he's a legend. But the fact of the matter is this. He's also a thief and a liar. And that's something else he is. So make sure you accommodate all of his truths of who he is. And don't cherry pick the information.
That's
right. So, like stuff that I got involved with in the music industry that you'll never hear about. I went and saw Testament play, and they were originally called The Legacy, and they opened up for Suicidal Tendencies in Antwerp, California. And Johnny Z was like, we're going to sign these guys, and he goes, but the name, they can't use the name The Legacy. And so I was looking at my father's lawyer degree from Fordham University, and it said In Testimony. And I said, why don't we call it Testimony? And he said, well, Testament would be better. And I go, yeah, that's a very good name. And that's what came up with the name. I also heard this band when I did the USA for MOD record. So when I did the USA for MOD record, I drove from Ithaca, New York, and I drove to Johnny Z's house in Old Bridge, New Jersey. Played him USA for MOD, and he goes, it's okay, and it was just an okay record. It gets a lot of credit because it was controversial. Of course, no one ever read the interviews I did for it, where I blamed Bob Geldof for stealing $355 million from Live Aid in Africa. Did you know that?
I did not. Holy shit.
They raised $4 billion for Live Aid, and he took a 10% commission and said, well, I earned it. I was like, what? And then he had some things where he said, again, he had said, fuck them in their charity and let them die next time. That's where that all came from. But no one talks about it because he was a liberal cocksucker. And he took a 10% commission and he said, what do you think, we did this for free? And he kept $355 million for himself. Which is why you don't hear about him, which is why you don't see him, and which is why you don't see Live Aid every year. Because they stole it. Like all good Hollywood, you fucking cocksuckers.
Unbelievable.
Bob Geldof is a fucking rat. And I wrote USA for MOD. The song Aren't You Hungry was written about him being a thief. I'll go back now. I bring this record in. He listens to it and he likes it, but he's not impressed. And at that point, SOD was blowing out the door now. We went from barely selling to huge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he plays me something. He goes, I'm thinking about starting this band, but the name is terrible. I said, first of all, the band is amazing. Immediately sign them. And the name, I think, is badass because we're getting political in music now. And so that was 1987, and the band was King's X. And so I got King's X signed. And then I got a couple of bands signed to Roadrunner. I got El Nino and the Step Kings originally signed to Roadrunner as a manager. Even though El Nino wound up going to someone else once the paperwork started as a manager, I didn't care. But especially with all the troubles they have now. But
right, oh shit, now.
Well, the guy that I had a problem with stole everything, and so better him than me as the manager. So, and the Step Kings wound up going to Roadrunner. I wound up getting a deal. I wound up getting my settlement from them and left them as management because they had big management looking for him. And they broke up, but the guy that was in the Step Kings that I taught management to became Bob McLynn. He's Bob McLynn from Crush Management, and he owns Crush Management, and he does like Panic at the Disco and all those fucking bands.
Yeah, my daughter loves that shit.
Listen, he's huge. He's the real deal.
Right.
And he totally gives me credit for it, which no one else does. But I produced a ton of shit, too. I produced fucking hundreds of demos for free. You know, hey, a band comes up to me. That's the thing about me. I've always given back, which is why I tell everyone, fuck you. I don't have to answer to you. I've given back from the fucking beginning, so fuck you.
Hey, you fucking earned it, Billy.
Fuck you.
Yes, right. You fucking earned it, brother.
Yeah, I mean, that's just honest, but...
Hey,
you know,
you put in the blood, the sweat, and the tears, man. You earned the fuck you position, sir.
the blood, the sweat, and the diarrhea.
That's
Listen,
right.
I did everything I could to help as many people. Demos, fucking records. records. I did small independent records for $2,000, up to fucking records for like Epitaph, where I did a Gnostic Front, Something's Gotta Give. I recorded and produced, and I managed them and rebuilt their whole built business. I
worship at the ground of them, man. So yeah.
Even with that, I did the Marauder record for Century Media and Scar Culture for Century Media as a producer. I've done a ton of work, but I also designed tours. So I designed the Unity Fest that helped build the Gnostic Front back, and we're going to be launching that again. But I also built the Punkorama tour for Epitaph Records in the 90s, because they were getting tired of being fleeced by Warped Tour. And so I gave them a way to go out twice. So they did one tour on Warped Tour, and then they did one tour Punkorama on their own, where they were able to consolidate all their expenses, cross-collateralize them, and get the most out of it and sell their entire catalog at every show. And they did really well with it for many, many, many years. It was what I designed for them. But, I've done so much for so many people musically. I've always tried to give back, dude. I mean, I have a reputation. Everyone's got my reputation wrong. It's very simple. If you're honest with me, I'm going to be honest with you. If you lie with me or lie to me, I'm going to be honest to you.
Yeah, that's right. Either way, I'm bringing you the honesty treatment.
That's it. If you don't like it, I'm not here for your feelings.
That's right. You get your own fucking band-aids and your own fucking helmet.
What else you got?
Well, I'm going to switch gears a little towards you, brother. I'm sure there are many metalheads out there that would like to know, what does Billy Milano listen to for fun, man? What if you're sitting around and just want to put something in for your own enjoyment? What is it these days?
I grew up one of 11 kids, which I've told you already. And so I listen to everything from fucking, I still listen to Tony Bennett, and I still listen to Lou Rawls and Barry White and Motown, and I still listen to, all the stuff my parents listened to, Andy Williams. I listen to all that old classic music. Everything from Nat King Cole, you ready, to fucking Strapping Young Lad.
Fuck yeah, brother.
All. And here's the thing about music. I can honestly look at my playlist in my phone and see not only Christmas songs, traditional Christmas songs, but I listen to Motown. I love fucking thrash and hardcore. I love disco. I love disco music, and I always have. And I still listen to a ton of disco. And I love the era of the very end of the 60s to the very beginning of the 80s. It is absolutely undeniable. The greatest eclectic moment in music history. And
what a beautiful time for expression.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Some of those recordings that are 40 and 50 years old and 60 years old still sound unsurpassable. I mean, one of my favorite bands, I love Rush, and I love Zeppelin, and I love the Standards. You know this. But I also, one of my favorite bands is Earth, Wind, and Fire and Steely Dan.
I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah.
And when you listen to those records, Earth, Wind, and Fire and Steely Dan, and you listen to that shit, and you're like, these records are 50 fucking years old, 40 years old. I mean, I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire in 1981 live at the Felt Forum. I saw concerts that I always wanted to go to as an adult. As a youth, I finally saw Steely Dan. And I said to myself, these bands, I'm looking at Donald Fagen and going, he's 80. He's 80!
He's 80 fucking years old, yeah. It's crazy.
It blew me away because for the first time, now I saw him 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, Steely Dan, 3 years ago, when the guitarist was still alive. At 50, I looked at him as old. You understand me? When I was a kid, 18 years old, listening to Steely Dan in my Camaro on my Pioneer stereo with my Jensen speakers, cranking it, cruising down the street,
banging our heads with long hair.
All I could think about, I was bald as shit. I was a skinny. All I could think of was this. Who the fuck writes music like this? I couldn't believe it. I was hearing this. It was amazing.
Who writes music like that today? That's what where is that going?
I said to Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like I said, let me explain something to you. I'm a bouncer. I'm a security guard with 2 platinum records, and I don't give a fuck. Life is good. It is what it is. Right. But when I look at what's available out there musically, it's fucking staggering how much you could listen to. And I try to listen to everything. The only thing I can't get into are these bands. Then they go, and they feel is that?
They've termed that, like, I guess they're calling that post-hardcore or post-metal. I call it post-suck my dick. It's terrible. It's awful. Fucking awful.
Hey, Hey, listen, here's the thing. I don't like it.
Me either.
But they do, and they believe in it. And you know what? People looked at New York hardcore like that in the beginning. That's dumb. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
but if I may, there's a key difference there.
There's no...
The New York hardcore scene was very real. It was very guttural. It was very raw.
But that was society. That wasn't New York hardcore. That was society. And here's another thing. We went into an area. Hi, Aldo. I'm watching my friend's dog. I get ready to leave on tour, and he's right here. What's your man? I got my dogs on the bed. Hi. You got to remember something. Hardcore wasn't punk rock, wasn't metal. You had to go to the shittiest part of town because no one wanted you. And so that's why it was gutty and edgy. Because you first had to have balls to show up. Second of all, you had to make sure you showed up and your shit didn't get stolen so you can get home. And then you had to show up and have fun with people who you thought lived down in that area, and so you respected them from the beginning. And you didn't act like an asshole to them and try to throw a fucking bow up to people.
All right.
You saw
That's a good way to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, you saw the skinhead guy hanging out in the club with his skinhead girlfriend, and the first thing out of your mind in your head was, don't fuck with that guy or his girl, because they're from this neighborhood. And they wound up being from like middle of New Jersey, nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So we were all from somewhere. It was the grittiness of the streets that made New York hardcore gritty, and it wasn't the people. In fact, the people today, they're not nearly as gritty as we were back in the day.
No way. Yeah, we've lost that. That's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Now everyone's just living off the legacy. Listen, when I see fucking bands on Facebook talking about how they're New York hardcore and they're from a foreign country, and they're like this, fuck yeah, New York hardcore. Like, yeah, you can't even say New York right. How are you New York hardcore?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then all these bands that are New York hardcore, that aren't legendary bands, but because they can say they're New York hardcore bands, they're legendary bands. I'll never forget seeing a band saying, legendary New York hardcore band. Are you ready? And they used to play to 5 fucking people every time in New York. No one cared. And you know what? What? It was the Crumbsuckers.
Oh.
No one ever came to the Crumbsuckers in New York City. But that band in the beginning, I used to watch that band and go, look at that guitar player playing. That guy can really play. Look at the bass player, Gary Meskel. He can really play. I mean, these guys were a good musical band. And I look at music because I grew up with fucking music because I'm, 10 older siblings. And so here I am looking at them and no one liked them. Everyone stood outside and I was inside with 15 or 20 people at CBGBs every time. I even got the guys in Metallica on stage with them, Kurt from Metallica, to play with them. And they fucked it up. Or Tommy Carroll fucked it up. But it is what it is.
I still think Crumbsuckers are amazing. That's another band I have a lifelong love for. So
look, here's one of the things I've always said about music. I'm a fucking Jersey guy, and I grew up in New York hardcore. I'm not a New York hardcore New Yorker, but I am, because I grew up. And besides the fact is this, you fucking talk to me, you know I'm from New York.
Hey, your fucking footprint is big or bigger than anybody else's on that fucking scene. So
Absolutely.
you got to,
I appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is this, I've never been one to fall onto the moniker of New York hardcore. In fact, I think only twice in my entire MOD career did I ever use the New York hardcore logo on a t-shirt, and not as the design like these people who use the New York hardcore logo like it's fucking Nike. Exactly.
Right.
Bullshit, you know it.
That's right.
So go ahead.
Just going to switch gears on you a tiny bit. We're talking a little bit about then and now. If I were to ask, what's the biggest glaring difference between the music scene in the early days in the 80s and it is now? I forget the business aspect. We all kind of overtalk that part. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, guys can really play today. You laugh.
No, I agree with you.
New York hardcore was so specific in the very beginning. It was literally only 200 or 300 people in the whole tri-state area that played it. And they were in every band. And they played the same club.
Right. And half of them were terrible instrumentalists, but they were great, on stage.
Listen, it wasn't about the music. And that's the funny thing, Chris. I never went to New York hardcore shows and said, I can't wait to see this band play. If they were a New York hardcore band. Never have I ever done that. And all my friends are the guys that are the New York hardcore core. Me, Rob Kabula from Agnostic Front, Roger and Vinny from AF, Jimmy, James Drescher, Jimmy Gestapo, name me Billy Milano, my friend Randy Underwood, who took all the photos of New York hardcore. You're talking, you're talking my crew of people. Ralphie from the Mob. These are the people that are the crew.
Fucking goddamn legendary days, man. That era had such an impact on me, man. I can't overexpress it. I really can't. It's just amazing time frame.
And it wasn't really about the musicianship. relationship or even the music. We used to just go to see each other.
It was the scene, right? It was the brotherhood. It was the community.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the brotherhood, right? Honestly, but it's not there anymore.
A lot of people still talk about the brotherhood, right? That's right.
It's not there anymore. It's different. Now it's fanboy bullshit.
Yeah.
There was a difference between a brotherhood.
Yeah.
And of course, we were a lot edgier as people.
Well, back then you took bloody knuckles for your brothers, man. You know, I was a big part of going to Washington, D.C. during the punk era where, you know, a lot of them Nazi skinheads tried to show up. There was a lot of fights during that era.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
I was a big part of that.
Listen, a lot of people accuse me of being a racist and a Nazi. I hate fucking Nazis.
I know you do.
I mean, I'm a fucking European gypsy. I'm part Jewish and part Moroccan. And I'm fucking Irish, Italian, and Greek. So what the fuck does that mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we never really allowed that in the CBGBs. And the whole Scott Ian thing, which is why I'm so disappointed in them. The whole Scott Ian thing was predicated, my relationship with him and Charlie, on the fact that some skinhead Nazis were going to beat him up from Long Island. So we had a rule. I don't give a fuck what your politics are. When you come to CBGBs and you come to A7, which was the original place, you're in our business, you're in our house, and you have to show respect to everybody, not
You're
just
our guest.
That's right. You're not here to do anything like that. And they were gonna beat him up because they had long hair, and I was like, dude, I can't let you do that. You're my friends. And I have a problem with that. And so you can leave and come back next week. But if you fight with these guys because they have long hair, we're going to kick the shit out of you and you ain't never coming back.
Yeah,
and dude, it was just me. It was only me, Big Charlie Hawkins, black skinhead, good dude. He got killed by a garbage truck. Nicest guy you ever met in your life. And my friend. And it was me, Big Charlie Hawkins, and Rob Kabula from Agnostic Front. And we stood up against everybody and said, fuck you, don't touch him. But that was the thing. It was ignorant. It wasn't about fighting for gang turf. It was about fighting because you were ignorant. And that's the difference between the old New York hardcore and the era I grew up with and what motivated us. I mean, I've stood in an elevator. A guy smacked my fucking hand off the button of the elevator, and Roger Moret walked outside and punched him in the face as he's holding his dog. And he said, don't you ever touch my friend. That's what I'm talking about. We didn't wait at night to get you in the corner. You started shit, you got hit. And that's New York hardcore. That's the core people.
Fuck yeah, brother. That's good shit. That's good shit. Well, what's next? What's next for Billy Milano, man? What's on your agenda? What are you looking forward to in the coming, time, the next year, month, or whatever? What's on your agenda that you can't wait to see happen?
I'm getting ready to tour Europe, which you know I leave this week.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. I've already asked Jason to send me some clips when he gets a chance.
Yeah, we'll get it. And I am doing several things as far as music projects. Again, I play bass in a band called Duke from Austin, Texas. Not what you think. And I have a solo project that I do. But, I'm looking forward to getting out of winter because I hate winter. I'm a summer person. I'm looking forward to spending some time with my dogs. I'll be getting out there and doing some recordings in the next 6 months. I'll be announcing the Duke stuff where we have a demo recording to be downloaded to start that. Fuck, the shit's great. I got a bunch of things I want to do. And I have a bunch of things I'm going to do. Most of it primarily is initiating this. MOD is here. It's initiating. We have an agenda. Now I got this here, Duke, and I have the other thing, the Billy Be Damned thing. And those things are in the process of writing. Like I have 14 more songs to learn for fucking Billy Be Damned with the drummer, and the drummer's on his fourth song.
Damn.
So just learning.
You stay busy, don't you, brother?
Yeah, well, listen, I could do a couple of different things if I wanted. If I wanted to date again, I could date, but I don't want to date. I got grandkids. I'm not really, I have someone that takes care of me, and she's cool.
That's cool. That's all you need.
Yeah, listen, life is strange. It is what it is. You either do it and have fun with it, or you don't, and you walk through it miserable with your head down. And I'm not going to do that. I have an agenda. I'm very focused as a person on my agenda. With aspects of my lawsuit for my trademark being done, I can now concentrate on the things that I was working on 2 years ago. performing with MOD, promoting Busted Broken American, which is a great fucking record.
Yes, it is, brother. Great fucking record. We played a couple songs on it. It's a great fucking record.
Yeah, it is, man. I'm doing 3 books as I sit here. I've been working on for 2 years, and I stopped 2 years ago, and now I'm getting back on it. I have my book about my dogs, which is called Only the Love Remains. It's a history of my dogs and my life as it changed me. And, you know, basically it's a kid's book.
That's
so
awesome.
I have a book about my dogs, showing the responsibility of an animal to a kid. I have my autobiography, which I'm writing. I think I was going to call it Fuck 'em. But I'm not sure yet. I have a couple other working titles. One of them was Raging Bullshit. The other thing is the one that I'm foremost on my mind, and that's my mother's cookbook. Now, out of 5 sisters, I got the cookbook. My mom sent everything to me before she died. And she said, "You're the one. I trust you, because I know you're going to give it to everybody." I even got, like, the stuff she sent me, pictures of me, of my dad, and my sisters. This is from fucking Palisades Park, from the 450s. See that?
Brother, yeah, that's awesome.
I have all my mom's recipes in here, and I got a whole fucking book in here. And every one of my sisters are like, "When are you going to get it done?" And to be honest with you,
I'm working on it.
well, now I'm going to get it done because I can concentrate on it. And of course, getting it done correctly is what I want to get done. Right. And that's it.
Well, you know, that is part of Billy Milano's reputation. Is not just get it done, but get it done right. And I love that about you, brother.
And I'm trying. We'll get there. My dad used to say to me, "No matter where you go, that's where you're at."
Goddamn right, brother.
So that's it.
Can't run from yourself.
I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Well, you know, you're talking about you doing the autobiography thing. You got the book along those lines, man. And you're 55, which ain't that fucking old. So I certainly ain't writing the book on you as over or nothing. But let me ask you, when the days come that Billy Milano is no more, man, what will they say about you?
I don't care.
Good fucking answer.
I never did.
That's a good fucking answer, brother. Goddamn right.
Never did. And here's the thing. I know I've affected enough people in a way in their life positively.
Me? I'm one of them.
They're going to say good thing. And that's all.
I am one of them.
I was here. I honored my mother and father. I busted my ass and helped out as many people as I could. I was never greedy or selfish. I was always as honest as I could have been. And more importantly, I was always fair and truthful. And here I am. And at 55, I'm ready.
Still fucking standing, brother. Still standing strong.
Whatever, I'm ready.
Goddamn right. Hey, thank you very much, brother. You have a kick-ass day, sir.
Peace out. What's up, everybody? Billy Milano here from Method of Destruction MOD as we get ready to tour. I want you to know that you're listening to Metal-O-Mania with Chris and Billy fucking Milano. Tell your mom I said hi.
Motherfucking SOD. How's that for a little bit of flashback, James? Man, I'm telling you, I'll never hear that album without it taking me back. Taking me back to younger days, crazier days, wide open days. Back when the days when my body did more shit than it does now. But hey, you know what I mean?